Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ BoyGreen25. Before we go any further, please hit that thumbs up button and also hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the 2022 NFL Draft. And the reason why we're jumping on here on the YouTube channel today is a interesting, juicy nugget from Adam Schefter, who said, quote, Amari Cooper, the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver, is, quote, likely will be released by the start of the new league year, which is coming up on March 16th. He is due a $20 million fully guaranteed roster bonus coming up on March 20th. That's 5 days after the new league year starts. So that is rapidly approaching. So the Dallas Cowboys have to make some decisions here. The rubber is against the road. But this is a channel talking about the New York Jets. And with Amari Cooper set to be released, I have a message to the New York Jets, if they may be watching or listening, or any of you fans out there. The New York Jets have to do everything in their power to go get wide receiver Amari Cooper. This guy is only 27 years old. He will be 28 by the start of the 2022 season. But let's drop some statistics of why the Jets should be pursuing Amari Cooper. In his 7 seasons, he has 5 1,000-yard campaigns. In total, here are his numbers in his career. 517 catches, 7,076 receiving yards, and 46 touchdowns. And while all those sound juicy and great, I love providing context for Jet fans to understand how good of a receiver this would be for the New York Jets. So I pulled up the career receiving yards leader in New York Jets history, and this is where Amari Cooper would rank with his current statistics. His 517 catches would be tied for third most in Jets history. The only 2 people that would be in front of him are Don Maynard, Hall of Famer, and Wesley Walker. He would be tied with Al Toon for third most in Jets history. His 7,076 receiving yards would be fourth most in Jets history, behind Don Maynard, Wesley Walker, and of course, the great Wayne Corbett. And then touchdowns, his 46 touchdowns, that would be third most in Jets franchise history, again, behind Don Maynard and Wesley Walker. Again, you're sensing a theme here. And speaking of touchdowns, Amari Cooper is among the best in the league at it. Amari Cooper, here's from ESPN Stats and Information. He is one of only 6 players since the 1970 merger with at least 5 touchdown catches in each of his first 7 seasons. Here are the other members of that list. You have Marcus Colston, of course, of the New Orleans Saints, Larry Fitzgerald, future Hall of Famer, Randy Moss, Hall of Famer, Marvin Harrison, Hall of Famer, and then, of course, Gary Clark in the 80s. So we're talking about a guy that would immediately come in and be the number 1 wide receiver for the New York Football Jets. This is a guy they have to pursue. And quite frankly, here's some more interesting nuggets here. This news is kind of weird that it's leaking out 2 weeks ahead of the new league year kicking off, but some people have suggested perhaps this could incite a trade. Maybe those conversations will happen, and those conversations will happen, but from everything we're gathering, according to Adam Schefter, quote, it isn't likely that a trade comes to fruition. Teams realize that the Cowboys are in salary cap hell, and they can wait for them to just cut him, and then it will be an open bidding war. Now, the other interesting factor here is if the Cowboys cut him well before the league year, he can sign immediately with any other team. He does not have to wait if he is released. But that's where we get into the funky territory, because the Cowboys are in no rush. As we already said, that roster guarantee does not come until 5 days after the new league year kicks off. So the Cowboys can kind of take their time over the next 2 weeks to find out their next move. But for the New York Jets, whether it's signing him or trading for him, would be interesting, because quite frankly, the Jets could throw a conditional 6th or 5th round pick that would give the Cowboys the cap relief and something for him, and the Jets would control the narrative. If he gets cut, you have to bid with every other team that is out there, and that could be a difficult proposition. If you trade for him, you get the right to get him immediately, and you don't have to wait for all the nonsense. So that could be interesting for the New York Jets. But here's why I love this move for the Jets. First off, if the Jets get their wide receiver now, it frees up the flexibility in the upcoming 2022 NFL Draft. You don't have to go get a wide receiver in the first round. You already checked that box by getting Amari Cooper, who, again, would be a number 1 wide receiver on this team. So freeing up the flexibility in the draft to go edge rusher, go corner, go offensive line. The world is your oyster oyster if you're the New York Jets. And another thing, it would provide a true number one wide receiver. We haven't had it since what, 2015, that magical Brandon Marshall year? We need action. Zach Wilson needs a toy to play with. And the other thing that I find fascinating is the ripple effects on the rest of the team. Having Amari Cooper makes Elijah Moore better. Having Amari Cooper makes Corey Davis better. It makes the running game better. And it gives a reliable target to Zach Wilson. Now, I do have to present this before we sign off, that Connor Hughes of The Athletic brought up some interesting points since this news became public on the Amari Cooper action. Because again, if someone is being cut or something is happening, you have to ask the why. Why are the Cowboys moving on from Amari Cooper? Think about their wide receiver room for a second. They have CeeDee Lamb, who I'm in love with. I love CeeDee Lamb, but Michael Gallup is a pending free agent. You have a couple other guys that are free agents, and Cedric Wilson, who's a free agent. So there's a lot of uncertainty at the wide receiver position. So why would the Cowboys be moving on? This is from Connor Hughes of The Athletic on the Can't Wait podcast. You can see the full clip on my Twitter account, @BoyGreen25. But this is from Connor's sources saying, quote, there is a stigma that Amari Cooper is a little lazy and there are some work ethic concerns. From a high-ranking source, his level of commitment has certainly been questioned. So obviously what the Jets are going to have to do, and as Connor also added, the Jets will in fact do their homework and they will, quote, they're going to explore and look into Amari Cooper. They're absolutely going to do their homework on him. That is a direct quote from Connor Hughes of The Athletic. And again, to add a little bit more context into that, Joe Douglas has to do his homework on Amari Cooper, make sure he'd be the right fit for the locker room and everything else. But from what I've seen on paper, the New York Jets have to be aggressive. They need to bring this guy in. And again, if it's via trade, the draft capital would be minimal. If you sign him straight up, you can probably beat out a lot of the other teams in terms of the money. He's probably going to be asking for somewhere in that ballpark between 16 and 19 million a year. Maybe he also gets that 20 because remember, originally in free agency, he signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with a $20 million per year average. So maybe he still commands that this time around in free agency. But nonetheless, this is my plea to the New York Jets. Make sure you do everything in your power to do the proper homework on this guy, and I'd bring him in. If it was up to me, I would bring Amari Cooper in yesterday. That kind of impact on the offense and freeing up the flexibility in the NFL draft would be amazing again. And plus, on top of all the statistics and everything else I just shared with you, I mean, how many Jet fans don't want to go on every touchdown or first down reception? Coop! I mean, we all want to do that. Come on, people. So, yes, that's an added bonus, too. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Again, make sure you hit that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. New York Jets content all day, every day. And coming up on Monday, we have a Mock Draft Monday special. We have it every week where a special guest or insider joins us on the show. If you'd like to check that out, go to my playlist, Path to the 2022 NFL Draft. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you again. Again, Amari Cooper to the Jets. Let's speak it into existence.